Hello, welcome to this video. This one's going to be about the squat commands and rules and reasons for disqualification in the IPF. The reason I've used the IPF is because a lot of the federation rules are very similar. Generally, if you do it to IPF standard in most federations, you'll be fine. So what we'll look at, as I said, is the rules for the squat, what you need to be doing, and then mainly the reasons for disqualification, so what you need to not be doing. Throughout the video as well, I will show some clips of examples of what we're talking about. So if we're talking about niche things like double bouncing or elbows touching the thighs, you might wonder how that could happen. So I'll show some videos of how that could happen, basically. And then hopefully, if this one goes well, gets received well, I will then do a bench one and a deadlift one. So if you are looking to compete in an IPF anytime soon, this little series might be very helpful to you. So, thank you. Right, so here you'll see two videos of Lauren squatting back in December. So both of these are very good squats. She's got 3 whites for both. You'll see that she gets good depth. She listens to commands, which you can't hear on these videos. And then she goes on to get 142. I think the videos here are 130 and 137.5, I think. But yeah, these are both good examples, so we'll go over why they're good examples in more depth soon, but I'm sure you'll agree these are both good squats. So now that we've seen how a squat should look, what we're going to look at next is the reasons for disqualification, and we'll include a little bit about the rules there as well. But generally, your reasons for disqualification is what's going to be stopping you from getting your lift in. I'll put them up on the screen in a sec, and then what you'll see is a few clips of how those failures would look, because some of them don't necessarily sound very obvious, some of them are very similar, and then there's one or two that you might not even be aware of. But yeah, there's a couple of videos coming up, a couple of clips coming up, sorry, in this video that will show you what those things are. So what you're about to see on the screen is the rules from the IPF rulebook. You'll see some rules such as fail to assume an upright position with the knees locked, which is basically come back up from depth. Then there's double bouncing or downward movement, which is obviously wrong. Failure to observe the referee's commands, which is quite a common one. And you'll also notice on the part 2 there, failure to bend the knees until the body is below the top surface of the legs, which is depth. Very common one to fail with. Then you've got quite a rare one with contact with the elbows or upper arms of the legs. I have included the video of that because it is quite rare to see. Then you have any dumping or dropping of the bar after the completion of the lift, which is mainly just about being a danger to the spotters and loaders. The next couple of clips you're going to see is my client Bettina doing some squats rather badly. She normally does them better than this, so don't worry too much. I just wanted to include this clip because in the rulebook it does specifically say that you need to have your fingers over the bar. So as the camera pans around, you'll see that Bettina's walked it out, has the bar horizontally and has her fingers around it. Here we have an example of Bettina doing a squat to good depth. It has to be hip crease below the top of the knees, top of the thighs, sorry. As you can see, she goes well past that here. So this is just another good example. Now this clip is an example of a double bounce at the bottom of the squat. You quite often see this almost comfortably from some lifters. This is a little bit exaggerated, but this is what it would look like. Now this one's similar, but it's just generally downward movement. So if the bar starts to come up and goes down a little bit, it will be classed as a fail. This is exaggerated, but this is what it would look like. This last one is the elbows or upper arms touching the thighs. You don't see it very often, but I have seen it being called for before, so it's worth seeing. I want to include a little bit about commands, as that is a major part of why people fail squats. So the next video you will see a little clip of Lauren's squat again, but this time with sound on, and you should be able to hear the commands quite clearly from the judge.
Come on, nice.
The video you've just seen there of Lauren, well, that you've seen for the second time in this whole video, I've included the start bit so that you can see some of the setup which we did talk about. And also you can very clearly hear the referee with the start and the rack command, which is all you need to listen out for on a squat. There is only 2 commands. There's no up command. There's just a squat command at the start and a rack command at the end. You will see the referee go from here and say squat, and then once you've finished the lift, you will then get a rack. You will need both the hand actions as well. Well, I say you'll need them. The referee will need to do them. So if you have both those commands and you do everything in time with that, you should be fine. You will obviously still get a rack command even if you have done the lift badly, I say. So like if you haven't hit depth, you will still get a rack command. It's not like the referee will make it obvious, just be like, you failed it. They'll just say rack, and then you'll turn to see if you've got the white lights or not. You might actually be able to see the lights on that video. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't completely checked. But normally the lights will be behind you on the platform. And then with all lifts, if you get a red light from either judge, either of the 3, should always be 3, you can then ask that judge or referee what the reason was for the red light. It could be something that you're not aware of. It happened before where, you know, it might be something like the knees being unlocked at the start of the lift, which normally you wouldn't get a squat command from most referees, but it is down to them. They can give you the squat command and then fail you afterwards for it. But it's rarely seen. Normally, if you're not ready to start the lift, they won't say squat, but they can. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, other than that, that is basically how to do a squat for a competition in specifically the IPF. And as I said, in things like the ABPU, if you lift like that, you don't have to worry too much about stepping out if you're using the model lift. But generally, if you lift like that, you will get past the competition. There's not really much reason why you wouldn't. So as long as you are hitting depth, listening to commands, not doing things like putting your elbows or upper arms on your thighs, which is quite hard to do, to be honest, especially not dumping the bar, and making sure that you can just lift the weight, and then you should be fine. But yeah, I will hopefully be doing a bench press one of these and a deadlift one of these as well. The deadlift one will be a bit longer because that'll include sumo and conventional. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and all that YouTube stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching.